foundations.
Beautiful weather on Yawkey Way, and the great atmosphere is a bit deceiving tonight. There is disappointment in the air at Fenway, and it has nothing to do with last night's loss. Pedro Martinez is a late scratch, and Red Sox Nation waits for word on when he'll be back. We'll give you the very latest on that and everything that is Red Sox baseball as the rivalry continues tonight. It's the Red Sox and Yankees next on NESN. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Boston Globe pregame report. I'm Bob Rogers alongside future Hall of Famer Dennis Eckersley. And, you know, we think of Pedro Martinez perhaps someday going into the Hall of Fame. So anytime you have word that he's injured, everybody panics.
Well, I was disappointed, to say the least. I'm sure a lot of fans are out there disappointed coming to the ballpark today, all psyched up, coming from who knows where to see him pitch. So not only are we disappointed, I'm sure his teammates are disappointed.
Well, the surprising news, too, when you first heard that he was scratched, you're thinking, okay, the groin kind of flaring up. It's not the groin at all. He has a strained lat muscle. He's going to have an MRI right now. Let's get the very latest. Grady Little just a few moments ago down in the field with Tom Caron.
Yesterday, when he came out to do his long tossing before, like he normally does on a day before he starts, he felt something in his right lat back there that hopefully is not very serious, but it is serious enough for him not to be able to pitch today and probably not tomorrow. He's out here early today trying to show us that he would be able to go, and it wasn't good enough. It's too much risk there.
Next step is an MRI and get the results on that?
He'll take an MRI. He'll get an MRI taken of it tonight. Hopefully it'll reveal it. Just a slight strain of that lat, and if that's the case, we'll treat it accordingly, and hopefully he'll just miss one start, and we'll go from there.
Well, anytime Pedro is hurt, again, I say everybody just worries in Red Sox Nation because he's so important to the team's success. But what about a strained lat muscle? What does that mean exactly?
Well, I think if it had happened the next morning when he woke up after pitching a start and felt it real bad, I would think it would be serious. Not only that, he's playing long toss 4 days after the fact, and he tells people that, you know, he wants to pitch. So if you want to pitch, that means, you know, it's not that bad. So I don't think this is all precautionary.
And when you talk about the arm, it's not the elbow, it's not the shoulder, it's the lat basically behind the shoulder, right?
Yeah, but, you know, anytime there's anything wrong with anything that's attached to my arm, anything that has to do with anything remotely to do with the right arm, I'd be worried.
You're going to be a little worried. Well, tonight, in place of Pedro Martinez, we will see the lefty on the hill, Bruce Chen.
Well, all I can say about him, he's only went 2 innings. The only thing good about it is I don't think the Yankees have ever faced him. So one time around the lineup, and maybe he's probably gone. It's a bullpen night. Yeah,
you make a good point. Only 2/3 of an inning pitched lifetime against the Yankees. He's been primarily a National League guy, so you would think that, if anything, will work to the Red Sox advantage.
Well, it's a late, you know, they're finding out about Pedro not pitching, and they're like thrilled. So now they're going around saying, who's this guy? What's this guy got? So maybe they'll be clueless first time around.
You hit the nail on the head. Thrilled? I think that's an understatement. Let's get Joe Torre's reaction in the Yankees dugout.
It's funny. You sort of never hear the second line when they say Pedro's not pitching. You don't even know who's pitching. You know, and it's a shame. Not that you think you're going to have an easier time, but I mean, to me, he's still the best. You know, what can I tell you? So, you know, anytime he's not pitching, it's... you know, you think you got a better shot, but again, we have to pitch in order to win our game.
Let me ask you this. Obviously, the Yankees probably a little energized knowing they don't have to face Pedro. How demoralized would the Red Sox be knowing that he can't pitch?
Well, I think that they're feeling disappointed like we are. But at the same time, I was thinking that Weaver's pitching, and last time they faced Weaver, I think back in a real hot day,
yeah, remember that
in the summer, they just lit him up. So I think that it's time for the hitters to step it up.
You would expect the bullpen, too, to get a lot of work tonight, I think.
Yeah, so maybe we'll do 2 here, 1 there, 2 there, and we'll get 9 in and do the job.
Well, you're keeping it all positive, Mr. Eckersley. Well, let's get the latest news on the Red Sox, because there's also a roster move to tell you about. The bullpen getting some help. Let's go down to the field now. Tom Caron with Bob Hohler.
Bob, thanks very much. A pitching transaction indeed today, and it did not include Pedro Martinez. No DL move there, thankfully. But Jason Shield, who pitched very well last night, is sent down. Rudy Cianez is called up from Providence, or Pawtucket rather. And I guess the first part of this is Jason Shield pitched so well last night and has done a pretty good job up here. Maybe a surprise that he's the one to go down.
Yeah, he is. He came out of nowhere, you know, waiver claim over the winter, and you know, he pitched great in spring training. Really stepped up. He showed no fear, and he really impressed a lot of people here. The deal was with Cianez is that the Red Sox had sort of a he had an out clause in his contract. They signed him to a short-term deal. He needed to either show what he could do in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or be released. So he's throwing real well down there in Pawtucket, and so they want to see if he can get it done up here.
Theo Epstein's saying it's just a case of they want to see what they've got in Rudy Cienez as much as anything Jason Shield did or didn't do here in Boston.
Exactly. This is a guy who used to throw 100 miles an hour. He's still up around 96 at some times, and he's got a nice changeup and a decent slider. And as Grady reminded us, he's the only one pitcher in Grady's career has no-hit one of Grady's teams, and that was Rudy back in rookie league ball when Rudy was with the Indians in Burlington and Grady was with Pulaski with the Braves.
Clearly left an impression on the man who is now his manager as he gets the call up. So we will see. Rudy pitched an inning in the third last night, did Rudy Cienez. Not sure if he'll be able to go tonight. Meantime, Jose Contreras recalled today, as you may have heard, by the New York Yankees. And just kind of interesting that this is the place he rejoins the team. Of course, it was Boston who tried so hard to get him in the offseason.
Right. What an irony, you know. The sad irony for the Sox is that Pedro is now out, and now we have Contreras coming in, you know, and this is the guy that, you know, that Theo bought all the hotel rooms in the foreign country to, you know, try to pursue, and couldn't quite land him. Now Contreras isn't going to make the kind of impact that Pedro would have made, but he's here and he's in the bullpen, and he's going to be interesting to watch.
Offensively, Nomar Garciaparra, of course, the hitting streak still goes on now, looking to add to it to 21 tonight if he gets a hit. The interesting thing, I think, Bob, is how he's taken the drama out of it each of the last 4 nights. Get it done right away.
Exactly. He's just banging right away there, getting on base every time, and we'll see how it happens tonight. But he's in a good groove, and you know, Nomar, he doesn't want to talk about it, but he just wants to go out and do it, and you know, he's been getting it done game after game here.
So an interesting one tonight. Bruce Chen gets the start against Jeff Weaver, not Pedro Martinez, as you know, for the Red Sox. Chen gets the start. And right now we go back to our NESN studios and Bob Rogers.
All right, Tommy, thanks very much. And of course, the buzz is out there at Fenway Park last night. 35,000 plus. The energy there again tonight. We'll go to both dugouts next. Get reaction from the Red Sox dugout and the Yankees dugout too, as these two teams get set to battle in Game 2 of the 3-game series. And now it is time for the Tufts Health Plan Recovery Report. No one does more to keep you healthy. We need this guy healthy. Pedro Martinez having an MRI as we speak. He has a strained lat at this point. We'll get hopefully some results on that test before we go off the air tonight on WB Mason's Extra Innings. Pedro, of course, right now 4-2 with a 2.83 earned run average. And that is your Tufts Health Plan Recovery Report. No one does more to keep you healthy. The Yankees taking round 1. Of course, these two teams play 19 times, so last night's loss not all that devastating, but let's get more reaction about this matchup as we go down to the Red Sox dugout with Tom Caron standing by with Johnny Damon.
Thanks very much. Johnny, first of all, the big news today, Pedro Martinez unable to go. What does that do to this team? Anything?
Well, not really. You know, it gives Pedro some time to get healthy, but you know, we beat the Yankees without Pedro before. You know, it makes it a little more difficult at times, but you know, let's rest Pedro up and make sure he can pitch for the length of the season, and we'll go out there and beat the Yankees tonight on our own.
Strange game last night. You personally had a good night at the plate. Does it feel it's coming around? I mean, you've been pretty critical of yourself in comments after some of the games this season. Are you feeling a little better about what's going on at the plate for you?
Well, I've been feeling pretty decent. I'm not a young buck anymore. Before, when I had a day off, you know, I can come back out and pick up the bat and just start swinging and start getting hits. But now, you know, days off hurt me a little more. You know, I was a little banged up after Friday night's game, so I got Saturday off, came back Sunday, didn't get any hits. We've had a lot of days off from scheduled days off, and, you know, I just haven't been able to put it together after that. The timing's off, but, you know, hopefully I can find it, you know, keep the ball on the ground, no more of this lazy fly ball stuff. I mean, that's what really gets me in trouble. If I keep the ball low and down on the ground, I have a chance to get a base hit.
Johnny, I'll ask you finally quickly. A lot of Red Sox fans woke up this morning starting to look at that panic button. I'll let you tell them, what does a loss to the Yankees on May 19th mean?
Oh, it means absolutely nothing. I mean, we're a very good team, and we're going to get back to the playoffs this year. You know, there's a couple of teams to worry about out there, Seattle, Oakland, the Yankees, Minnesota, but we have just as good a team, or if not even better than those teams. And right now, Nomar, Manny, and myself haven't even put up our normal production. So as soon as we start doing that, we're going to be just fine.
Johnny, thanks.
All right, thank you.
That's Johnny Damon. Let's go across the field. Eric Freeds with the Yankees.
All right, Tom, here now with Derek Jeter, and you get to the ballpark and you find out Pedro is not pitching. What's your reaction?
Well, you got to have the same approach regardless of who you're facing. You know, I enjoy the competition, so I enjoy facing Pedro. He's obviously probably the best pitcher in the game, and, you know, you enjoy those matchups. But, you know, when we face anyone, they all try to pitch like Pedro. People get up to play against us.
When you guys got that win yesterday, ended that 3-game losing streak, was that important for this team to come out and just try to erase what happened down in the Bronx?
Well, it's baseball. You play every day, so you have to forget about what happened the day before. So it was good for us to come out, score some runs early, especially when we're battling for first place.
You are the lightning rod. When you walk out on the field, all the Red Sox fans here are yelling at you more than anybody else. Do you like coming into this atmosphere and playing and trying to silence this crowd?
Yeah, I can feel the love the fans have for me here in Boston.
I wouldn't call it that.
It's I enjoy it. I mean, this is a great place to play. You know, the fans obviously are into the game, and they don't like me too much, but you know, I enjoy coming here.
We appreciate your time, Derek. Thanks very much. That's Derek Jeter. Bob, back inside to you.
All right, Eric, thanks very much. Of course, Derek Jeter, very important to the Yankees in the lineup tonight as these two teams do battle again. Up next, we'll take a little departure from this big rivalry. We'll talk some football as, yes, the Patriots continue to work out. That's next. And now it's time for our Mike's Hard Lemonade discovery of the day. And did you know that Babe Ruth and Mickey Mantle hold the record for most home runs by an opponent at Fenway with 38 each? Of course, Ruth also hitting 11 home runs at Fenway for the Red Sox from 1914 to 1919. And we won't talk about any curses of the Bambino or anything like right now. As a matter of fact, we're going to leave Red Sox baseball for just a bit to talk. All right, time now for our triple play. Bob Rogers, Dennis Eckersley with you down in the Fenway Park studios. Up in the broadcast booth, it's Jerry Remy. And Jerry, very disappointing this afternoon to come to the ballpark and find out that Pedro Martinez was out in the outfield stretching, and then to get word that he's a scratch tonight.
Well, I thought it was kind of strange, guys. You know, I got here early and I saw him in uniform out in the outfield, and I said, this is not the what a starting pitcher normally does. So right away you think that obviously something's wrong, and it sure is. He's going for the MRI, as we all know, and certainly everybody's got their fingers crossed that it's not going to be anything serious. But obviously anytime you're talking about any kind of injury to anything near the arm, it's a concern, and especially with a great pitcher like Pedro Martinez.
You know, I've been concerned. I think we're always concerned about Pedro since 2 years ago having arm trouble. But now you got the little growing pull. Now you got the lat. You know, it's kind of scary. You know, I mean, if I'm an owner, I can't get over this, you know, because now I'm sitting up here. You know, if I was an owner and I'm paying 15 beans, 17.5, I want a guaranteed lock. I don't want my man to get hurt, but that's just not the way the world goes. I mean, anything can happen. I know he's, what, 30, 31 years old, but this frightens me to death because, you know, without Pedro, we're not going anywhere.
Oh, that's exactly right. How this team goes is the way Pedro goes, and everybody knows, you know, when you come to face the Red Sox, the one guy they don't want to face is Pedro Martinez. So, you know, as far as the money goes, you take a gamble on guys, obviously, and you hope they can stay healthy when it's not always the case. Hopefully this will not be anything that serious. You know, maybe he'll miss a couple of starts, and that should do it. But anytime you walk in that clubhouse and you get the news that Pedro's not doing well and not feeling well and has to go for an MRI, I think everybody that's involved with the Red Sox, fans and teammates and front office, they're very concerned about it.
Yeah, Pedro's 31. He'll be 32 in October. And I think you make a good point, Jerry. I think, how does this affect the team now as they go into the ball game tonight, knowing that Pedro isn't there? I mean, they all went to bed last night saying, hey, we lost the ball game, but Pedro pitches tomorrow.
Well, guys have a way of adjusting, but, you know, short term, I don't see a problem. Long term, a definite problem. If you were to lose him for any extended period of time, it wears on you as a club. I think right now they haven't had a lot of time to think about it. They come to the ballpark, okay, we've got to face Weaver tonight. Who we got out there? Chanwell. We'll see how it goes. I mean, I think that's the way they think. But when you sit back for a while and say, well, suppose we have to go after this thing without Pedro for a couple of months of the season, that's not a good thing.
I want to talk a little bit about Jason Giambi, the shift the Red Sox put on him last night. Jerry, I'm not sure how you feel about shifts. I want to get your opinion too, Dennis. What do you think about when they go through those shifts, they put a shortstop on the second base side? What's your take on that?
Well, my concern with it, you know, with nobody on base, I don't mind it. But with men in scoring position, sometimes I have a problem with it because just an accident like happened last night brings in a couple of runs. And Giambi right now is not swinging the way Giambi normally swings. I mean, he's hitting, what, 203? So obviously he's not doing the same things he did a year ago. I always worried about that, you know, especially with men in scoring position. I don't mind playing them to pull, but to put the drastic thing on, I've never been real comfortable with that. I don't know how Dennis feels about it as a pitcher, but I know as an infielder, I was always leery of opening opening up too many holes.
Well, not just that. I think, you know, here's a guy, a dead pull hitter. Fine. So in other words, if I do anything tricky, it's going against how we're playing him. So this guy's looking for something to pull, and I'm going to try to have to throw him something that he can pull, and I hope the hell he doesn't lift it. You know, what am I hoping he hits a line drive at that side of the field? It's crazy. I mean, I don't like it.
I agree.
Jerry, you had to be impressed the way Casey Fossum bounced back last night.
Yeah, I did. You know, but, you know, you got to go from the first out, you know, and things happen so quickly. It was just like the game was over in the first inning. It was very strange. It put everybody to sleep here at the ballpark. He did bounce back, and he pitched well after that. But, you know, when you're facing the world champions of a couple of years ago and the New York Yankees of this year, you got to get after it right from the first guy because they can do some quick damage on you. And you saw what happened last night. We could never bounce back from off of David Wells, and the game was really out of hand right from the first inning on. So, yes, he did bounce back, but you need to get it going right from the first hitter.
All right, Jerry, thanks very much. This is the kind of game, by the way, the Red Sox win, because everybody says they can't win now because Pedro doesn't pitch. Guaranteed win night tonight.
Guaranteed win.
All right, Jerry. Thanks a lot.
All right.
Jerry Remy in the booth tonight with Don Orsillo here on NESN. Tomorrow morning, pick up your Boston Globe. Of course, they'll have much more on the entire Pedro Martinez situation. That means a complete wrap-up of the Red Sox-Yankees series. And Jim McCabe, a feature on Annika Sorenstam. It's all tomorrow in the Boston Globe. Sullivan Tire brings us the keys to the game, the pitching matchup.
First, Bruce Chen against Mr. Weaver. I'll tell you, Chen probably goes around the lineup maybe one time, so it's really not a 2-3 innings, and we'll go piece everything else together from there. As far as Weaver's concerned, I remember him last year, that one game. I think Nomar took him deep twice on a couple hanging breaking balls. Lit him up bad. It was back and forth game. And, you know, he's got that Frisbee breaking ball. I think left-handers have an easier time with that breaking ball. So, and he's only given up one home run this year, which is a concern. And he's been like Derek Lowe on the road. He's been terrible on the road, so he continues to be terrible on the road. We light him up.
He hasn't pitched well against the Red Sox historically. That game you talked about last year, 8 runs on 10 hits in 7 innings. And he has not pitched well against the Red Sox in his lifetime, 2-4 with a 6.10 ERA. That is the Boston Globe pregame report. Dennis Eckersley and I will be back after the ball game for W.B. Mason's Extra Innings. But now stand by for Boston Red Sox baseball, the Red Sox and Yankees coming up next.